Welcome to the Supercar Connection podcast. Find us on social media at Supercar Connection and full episodes weekly on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcast. I'm Gavin, this is my boy Joe, and we're here to talk about cars.
Welcome to Eurocar.
We got planes overhead.
Deep in OC right now.
Thank you for coming on today. This is Lauren from Eurocar. We're sitting here in a crazy showroom with a crazy SVJ behind us.
A beautiful one.
Yes. You like this one particularly?
I wanted to choose a sexy one to put behind us, so I think we did good.
Yeah,
It's
I
crazy
think so too.
the fact that we're out of somewhere that we have to have like an actual debate on choice.
Right, we're like,
what
which
SVJ to park behind?
Which SVJ should we pull in the back?
Yes, not to mean that we decided between like 3 or 4. I think there's another like 4 or 5 in the front showroom. So
Yeah.
the fact that they have literally almost 6, 7 SVJs says enough.
So just let us know if we picked a good one.
Yeah,
The matte black, I think is pretty sick. We got the black Alcantara interior, which we're fans of.
super clean.
To be honest, my favorite one is in the showroom, the mini one in the front when you come in.
Yeah.
So if it would have been accessible, I would have put that one back here.
Which color was that one?
The blue Cepheus Ultimate. Roadster. Ultimate Roadster.
I don't know how much I'm a fan of an Ultimate though.
Really?
I mean, even
Too
the
low key?
SVJ, I'm not a huge fan of, but like if I had to pick between the two, SVJ would look a little more menacing in my.
It's not that you're not a huge fan of. You just like the SV more. But don't act like you're not a huge fan
Okay,
of
that's
the
fair.
SVJ.
That's fair. Because obviously we're talking about Aventador, so obviously
yeah.
I'm a huge fan. I would have like a 14.
Having titties.
Having titties.
I like that you have opinion on which was my favorite car.
100%.
Okay, so you can get that one. I'll get that one.
We'll get into that.
Lauren's already coming at me spicy. I love it so much.
Thank you for coming on with us. What do you do here at Eurocar? You can make it simple.
I sell cars.
You sell cars.
Yes.
So tell me this, like exotic sales seems like a pretty cool job. I actually wanted to do that for a long time. For anyone out there that's like, this is what they want to do. They want to be at a place like Eurocar, selling crazy cars to crazy people.
Yeah.
How do you get into that?
I feel like you're not going to like my answer, maybe.
He might like it. I might not like it. So
Okay.
let's just rip it. You got it.
I wasn't like a kid who could see one of these drive by and was like, oh my God, I know what that was. And for reference, I grew up in Tucson, Arizona. These weren't driving by, surprisingly, right? My first car was the hand-me-down '02 Suburban. I didn't get into exotic cars until I moved to Orange County.
Makes sense. Orange County. We'll
Which is
throw you into
a few
it.
years ago. Yes, for sure. And even then, I wasn't like I saw the pretty cars drive by, but it was so unrealistic. Like
feel you.
I was so far. I don't know how to put that in words.
Right.
But
You can't even fathom like what it would take to like, I mean, even to sell or own. I imagine when you saw it, you weren't thinking like, oh, I'm going to sell these one day.
Right.
It was more like, I can't even fathom what it would take to like own one of these things.
Right. So present day to like see one drive by, I could probably tell you what model it is. I could probably tell you if it's been modified, if it's stock. That blows my mind. My family thinks it's pretty cool. It's my new party trick at home.
Is it really?
But I went to school for education. So I have a degree in early childhood education. I was a teacher.
Amazing.
COVID came. I pivoted because I live in Orange County and it's very expensive to live here.
Absolutely.
So
I can only imagine.
someone happened to say one day, I think you do really good in a dealership. So I walked into Mercedes-Benz Laguna Niguel and got a job selling
started
cars.
there.
Started selling.
Yeah.
Did you walk right in and immediately start selling?
So I had originally left a voicemail for the service manager who my friend knew personally. And he called me back. He said, I'm so sorry, but I cannot hire you in service. It would be a disservice to you. But you have an interview tomorrow with the sales staff. So,
It's amazing.
yeah,
It's got to feel a pretty good compliment.
that
they
was
give you that.
not everybody can just like come across a first job in the car dealership at a Mercedes store. So it was,
Especially Mercedes Laguna Niguel.
yeah.
It's not like we're not
Mercedes, I feel like, is
top tier.
strict.
Absolutely. Yeah. Are you kidding me? It's not like we're starting at Nissan or anything.
So then going from
Not
Mercedes
crap
to
on Nissan.
here,
And no hate with Nissan. They're
No,
great
not at
salespeople
all.
there. But
Absolutely.
to just like have that be my first sales experience. And then they trained me like a Mercedes store obviously would. It was pretty great. Yeah.
What were you doing before you said this education? You had literally zero sales experience.
I was a preschool teacher.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you must have amazing patience then.
I have great patience.
So then with that, it comes hand in hand with selling cars then.
You know, I can't wait to get back to being a preschool teacher one day. Working with kids is really rewarding and they're much cuter. So obviously patience is not a problem. With adults who know better, my patience can be tested.
Right, 100%. Because I imagine you probably get some similar characteristics between some preschoolers and some of the people that probably are buying some of these cars.
We won't give a full answer there.
No, that one no.
No comment.
But so jumping from Mercedes to here,
Yeah.
was that something you saw and seeked out, or did someone contact you?
Well, I found myself at Mercedes kind of being more drawn to the S classes and the G wagons, and I was kind of enthralled with product knowledge. I thought that was like a superpower. If someone walked in and they ask about a car, I think you should kind of know what you're talking about if you're selling it. So I kind of honed in on knowing my S classes very well, or my AMG products very well. G wagons were fun.
It's a lot to learn.
Figured I would pivot again and kind of sell the big boy stuff.
Don't play that down by any means either, because that's a lot of knowledge to learn. Like people don't realize, like for people, I mean, obviously everyone watching this knows cars to a certain extent, obviously.
That's the point, hopefully.
Yeah, exactly. But like for people that like, I feel like even we take it for granted, because like we know a lot about cars and like you've learned so much, but like imagine, like, would you ever think back and you go, where you started from, the amount of knowledge that you garnered all the way till now? You got to give yourself credit, because that's
Thank you.
Immensely. Because when I was younger, I didn't know a lot about cars. And then I got older and I was able to develop some of the knowledge.
Yeah.
And I think about it now and I'm like, these things get so intricate, and just even knowing the price points and the spec, and too, you got to know like current market values and everything. So you got to give yourself a lot of credit.
I was deep, always in the game.
Yeah.
Gavin has been obsessed since he was little.
Well, I think that's so cool. You could probably hear a car whiz by and not see it and probably tell me what it is.
Are you kidding me?
That's
absolutely.
It depends on the car. An SVJ whizzes by, I can definitely tell you.
Yeah.
That was a
V12.
Titty SVJ.
That was a titty SVJ.
So, I remember one time I was in Chicago with my family, and we were at like one of the Chicago, I don't want to say it was Chicago Motor Cars because this was years ago.
Yeah.
But it was when I was probably like 13, 14 years old, and they had a Carrera GT on the showroom. And great, $1 million plus cars now. And the sales guy was there, and we were kind of talking to him, and I was like, man, this is the first like Carrera GT I've seen in person. These are crazy. And then my dad was like asking me about it, and I was like, this one's probably like 330,000, 340,000. And then the sales guy was like, yeah, 330,000. You nailed it. I was like, I know my stuff.
Yeah.
I read the DuPont registry every month.
You were 14 guessing current market values of Carrera GTs?
How about that?
You're a fiend.
I'm still rip it today. How's any of these cars? I'm kidding.
That's my favorite, when people come in here with their, young kids. I've had people with a 5-year-old walk around. The 5-year-old's telling their dad, that's an Aston Martin, that's a Ferrari. And just not even knowing models, but just to know what brand of a car it is at 5 years old.
To be able to recognize a moniker
cool.
and know the correlation that young. Are you kidding me?
And they're so excited about it. So
yeah.
It's cool.
Hopefully that's my kid.
So if you're watching this and you would like to come to Eurocar, please bring your kid.
Bring your kid.
That would make my day.
See Lauren.
And the whole family.
She'll show you. She'll treat you right. Show you the best car here. What's the most expensive car you've sold? If that's something that's disclosable.
Expensive one I've sold. It was an $800,000 Aventador Ultimate.
Ultimate?
Not bad.
For real?
Yeah.
One more question. So I did have a couple questions.
Yeah.
So I know like usually if you listen to the podcast, there's very conversational. We're going to still have a conversation, but like there's a lot of specific knowledge I think that you have working here at Eurocar that at least to me is like interesting. I want to know. So I'm going to use this opportunity to just ask those questions here for the people.
Oh my God, you can't wait for him to ask this question.
No. It's just
he just knows how excited.
The reason why I'm grinning is because like I know how excited he is, because like he said at the beginning, like he has literally like we met back in college, and like one of the things we used to talk about, like the whole point we even started this was because we used to do this exact thing, the two of us just hanging out.
Yeah.
So like he's been obsessed with this, but not only he's talked about getting behind like the sales side of the world.
Yeah.
So I know how like much he's like looking forward to this. So like I'm just smiling because I enjoy seeing him excited, and I enjoy seeing him
That
happy.
makes me excited.
Yeah, because I haven't gotten an opportunity to like talk to many people that sell exotics like this.
Yeah.
So one might just be a simple kind of silly question.
Yeah.
But if you're like buying a supercar specifically for or like the color, the spec they're choosing is like specifically for resale value. They're like, when I'm done with this car, I want it to sell as fast as possible.
Yeah.
what color, like what's the easiest color to move?
Depends on what car we're talking about. For instance, if we're talking about a G-Wagon and you are buying it strictly to maybe enjoy for a second or not even at all, and you would like to make some money on it, you better be getting like obviously the G63, night black Magnos, the matte black, red interior, not Bengal red, classic red. It better be fully loaded spec, so the night package, the exclusive interiors, the diamond stitch seats, carbon fiber trim. That car
Easy to move.
will always sell. Yes.
What about like a Lambo?
Okay. I like to say the more exotic, the better.
Yeah.
When we're talking about an exotic. So I can see that this one behind us at one point was white, and they have wrapped it matte black. It could go either way. If it was my car, it would be the brightest color combination because I know it's going to sell, especially in Orange County, LA.
Yeah.
Anything that gives you a little extra attention, like this is already a loud car, but if you make that,
Viola.
Yeah.
yeah,
little parts fit.
now it's for people who can't hear it and know what it is, they can see a purple car
That
and
looks
be
a
like,
spaceship.
oh my God, okay, it's cool.
Yeah. What about like green? Is green easy to move?
Depends on,
Gotta depend.
No.
It's gotta
No.
depend on the spec because I feel. I mean,
Because
I was
green
gonna
is
say it
green is
depends on
crazy.
the
Green is
shade.
exotic.
but they go so fast.
Yeah.
very true.
Yeah. Like we had, it wasn't my favorite color, but it was a McLaren 720S not too long ago. I don't know
Heck of a
how to
car.
describe the green in a attractive way.
Okay.
It was a lighter shade. It was a metallic color.
Right.
Is it the one that's almost yellow? Like it's kind of
Kinda.
yellow and then has a tiny bit of green?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
How would you describe this color in an attractive way?
Well, if it's the color I'm thinking of in an attractive way, I don't
Yeah.
know if I could do that.
Right. So
It's like puke green.
Do you?
It's like yellow with like a hint of green, to where it's like you think it's yellow and then you get close and you're like, is that
it got
is that
here
green?
and I was like, that's going to sit for a minute.
Yeah.
No, it went so fast. I don't even think photos went up.
Wow.
Imagine the perfect blend of a lemon yellow and a lime green. That perfect blend, you put the two together. That's the color that they're talking about.
Yes.
That's an
We'll have
attractive
to
way to describe it.
throw a picture of it up here.
Yeah, we'll put a picture.
Yeah, we'll do our best to find a picture of
Yes.
this green 7. And it was probably it's probably an MSO color and cost extra too.
For sure.
100%. I feel like it partly goes to like we were talking about like the different shades of green, but like each moniker, like you're saying, has like almost like their color. So like green, I imagine like you guys are selling like extremely high volume and like extremely like high price points,
Yeah.
but like a lot of Aston Martins and like the British cars, I imagine that like British racing green might be like kind of like similar to like Ferrari red, where it's like
Yes.
literally
They go
those
pretty
things
fast.
fly off the shelves.
Yes. People are very aware too. If they're looking for a car like that, they're very aware of what's already on the market. And then when a new one pops up on the market, like they already know. Like I'll have people call, and before I've even had eyes on the car, they've seen the listing go up, and they already know. They're like, when it gets there, I need photos right away, and I need to know this.
Because you guys are in all reality, this is like the ultimate game right now. Like you guys, people don't understand like the psychology. And again, jump in and correct me if I'm wrong. Okay. But the psychology of buying a car. Okay. The buyer wants the car. You when they walk in the door, you know that they're there for a car. It's not like they're at the grocery store, be like, do I need this? Do I need this? No. They came there with intent and purpose. So you have that slight, I don't want to say edge. I think edge is aggressive, but you have that little like boost on it. So then especially too at a higher level, I imagine people come in here pretty dialed in. They're like, yeah, no. I know exactly which one I want, what I want it at, and everything in between.
Most of the cars I sell are a phone call. Like
That's it. There's no need
Yeah.
to see the car.
Nope.
There's no need to test drive the car.
like I said, I told you I did my homework.
I love it.
I was watching the videos, and I think you guys are advising people, do not buy a car sight unseen. You need to drive it first. If you need to, yes, do that. Most people, especially with cars at this level, don't see a purpose in doing so because they know if they miss the opportunity. I mean, how often does a car like the ones we have in stock?
Absolutely.
Because
Right.
when you're looking at this level, I don't mean to compare it like generally like to a C class or
Right.
let's make it a little more significant, like maybe an AMG GT63 or like a C63. Those were more rare, but they're kind of everywhere. At a Mercedes store, they're more easy to get. If we're looking at a specialty car, maybe an 812 in a specific color, specific miles, that's what's unique about our inventory is we have the really rarest of them, really specialty hand-selected inventory. So do they need to fly here and drive it? No. See,
that's the key though.
Yeah.
Fly in and drive it. A lot of these guys, depending, obviously there's different scales to the game. So like when we say that, our more mentality is like, we take care of the cars. Like anything that him and I own, like especially him, he's like OCD obsessive with how pristine his service, everything in between. So when you're buying a pre-owned vehicle, you can't, I mean, in my opinion, trusting the fact that the first owner or the second owner, or whoever owned it before you, took the same care that you would do if you're the same thing is a little bit like, not naive, but like, don't assume that. But as in two, you get somebody that's extremely wealthy and buying something like of these price points isn't really anything for them.
Right.
The time lost flying, coming to drive the car, checking it out will make them the money that they'll be like, no, just get the car.
Right.
Especially if it's not like extremely high mileage or again, developing, like depending on the car.
Yes.
Like how many people would you say like the people who buy it sight unseen, are they more slightly pre-owned versus like buying like a McLaren with 30,000 miles or 20,000 miles or something like that?
I can tell you the buyer who's not flying in, who's willing to just wire the funds, have the deal written up, I want that car, market sold, and like, let's just get the ball rolling. It's not their first time doing that.
Of course.
And they've, I don't want to say built trust like in general, but they know what they want. They know what the risks are maybe if the car does need some work.
Right.
For the most part, you can do your research these days too yourself. Like you could do your own homework and see not just the Carfax, but like where are you buying the car from?
What city is it located in?
Yeah.
How many owners has it had?
Has it been on the East? People love California cars. We don't have the weather.
Yeah.
Planes all day long.
No, it's all good. Perfect.
You might, I mean, good chance you won't even hear the plane. There's a plane flying by. People listening, they're
John
probably
Wayne's
like,
right
wow.
around the corner here, so we're seeing a lot of it.
I feel like, and from when I say that, usually I don't necessarily mean like the specific car as much as just like the model of car. Because it comes from my experience. I bought a car once that I was like, ooh, I'm going to love this car. This car's perfect. And then I bought one.
Yeah.
And I had never driven one.
Yeah.
And then I drove it and I was like, this is not what I expected.
Can I
the
ask
experience
you
to be.
what made you do that? Like, did you do your homework on?
I did lots
not to offend
yeah,
you.
no,
I'm
no.
just saying, like,
I did
what
lots
did
of
you
homework.
compare it to?
Laura
to
came
know
on here
that
to ask us questions. I love it.
Like, why did you think you were gonna like it? That's my
I thought I was going to like it. I did a lot of research
Yeah.
and it was just like, I don't know. Like I'm a car guy.
Yeah.
I just like sports cars. I like
Yeah.
beautiful cars that are fast and
Yeah.
are fun to drive, all that stuff. And this car was like, it just checked kind of all the boxes. It was a Lotus Elise.
Yeah.
And it was supercharged. So it was like, okay, it's got that extra kick. It's a little nimble car. This is like the first like kind of exotic looking car I can get. And this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
And like all the research, people love those cars. People are obsessed with those cars. So I was like, I'm going to love this car.
Yeah.
And I bought one
Didn't
without
love it.
ever driving it. And I had it for like 4 months. I really didn't like, I
such a
can,
shame.
I can see why someone would love it.
Yeah.
I didn't love it
Yeah.
at all. So then I sold it and got my Alpha, which I have loved,
Good.
which I've driven 3 years. And once again, it's for sale. So someone buy my Alpha.
Very much so.
Plug there. But,
Noted.
and then, but the Alpha, I drove a 4C before I went and bought a 4C.
Got it.
Because with the Lotus, I didn't drive it. I just bought the car and then didn't really like it. And I was like, wow, I could have avoided all this
Yeah.
had I just driven one first. So like, it's not so much about the specific car
Yeah.
as much as it is just like drive the model. Because some people think, we've talked to people who the 720S is their favorite supercar they've driven. And we've talked to people where it's their least favorite supercar they've driven. So like, it's so much of it is subjective to
It's
how the
all
car feels.
subjective.
Everything is relative.
So when you just send it on a $300,000, $400,000 car and you're like, this is the one I want. I've always wanted one of these. You might get it and be disappointed.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that happens to a lot of people.
I probably imagine so. I feel like, again, it greatly depends on the financial and like psychology of the buyer. Because like imagine like you take
And what
like
you have to
us.
compare it to.
Exactly. Like, but like take us for example. Like
If you bought a Roma sight unseen and never driven one, and then you got behind the wheel of a Roma, you
don't even get me started on the Ferrari Roma.
What did I just spend $300,000 on? This car is trash.
A lot of people buying these cars aren't buying it knowing a lot about them. Honestly, they're buying it because
The moniker
it's kind of a flex.
Yeah.
could be a marketing point.
Yes.
Could be an image thing.
All my friends have one.
Exactly.
They don't need to love it.
No.
They just love having one.
Again, for them, sending a wire for this, their world.
Yeah.
You get somebody, let's say you get like a younger gentleman that's like on his way up and he's like trying to scale and like he's got maybe like 250 in his price range and he's thinking, he's like, okay, well, if I buy this car, like this is going to be my car for a little bit. So like for them, 250 is, it's not somebody for 250, that could be $200.
Yeah.
But in somebody else's world, 250, that's 250.
Yeah.
So for them, they might want to take a little bit more time to be like, all right, let me just make sure that this is a solid overall versus sending an $800,000 wire is, forget it.
Yes.
That is like where the little, I can see the.
Right. Those are definitely levels.
By no
like
means am I
V8
trying to put that down because I would love to get there.
This Vantage has a much different buyer than this SVJ.
Right.
And like, that's going to be a totally different experience. And I would probably buy a Vantage if I haven't actually driven a Vantage.
You should.
I should.
I know you guys hate on Aston Martins, but you should drive it.
But
I hate on Aston Martins.
Yeah, you did.
She's not wrong, but
the new Vantage looks incredible.
It looks
for the
incredible.
price point. It's a great car.
We got to see when it actually starts in the road, how it's going to feel, how it's going to drive.
I just know there's a lot of cars I could buy, and then because I care so much about how the car actually feels.
Yeah.
So like, there's a lot of cars I get behind the wheel of that I'm disappointed by.
Yes.
Especially growing up and like idolizing a lot of these cars. It's kind of like meeting your heroes.
Yeah.
And there's other cars that just like over deliver, but someone else is going to think that car may be trash that I absolutely love and fell in love with. You know?
Yes.
What was the most car that like surprised you the most so far on like our journey that we're going on?
I mean, I'd say the Huracan, but like obviously I figured I knew what a Huracan would feel like, but honestly it felt even crazier. Which is a Huracan in the grand scheme of things isn't even that crazy, but
think about that.
Like ripping down the highway in a Huracan is like just a drug straight to the bloodstream.
Think about what you just said. The fact that you said in retrospect a Huracan isn't that crazy.
Right.
If 6, 7, 8 a year ago Gavin would have heard you say that right now, he'd have been like, what?
Well, in the whole picture.
Exactly.
Like we're sitting in front of an SVJ.
Exactly.
So
like think about the mindset growth that one has to have in terms of that. And I feel like that's part of the game that nobody really talks about. It's like when you're scaling and you're doing stuff and you're growing, you get to a point where like a lot of the things that you used to see and used to idolize and dream of, they become like, not I want to say like they lose their value, but they lose that touch of spark where you're like we take for granted that we're like doing all this stuff like that. But like it's just, I don't know, I'm going off on like a motivational rant now, but like I don't mean to do that. But that's kind of where I'm saying, like the fact that we're sitting here and like we're talking about the different specs and we're like, this is like, it's bonkers to me. So
but it's exciting.
Oh, absolutely.
And you keep like the cars that you did idolize maybe 6 months, a year ago, a few years ago. I'm sure you have cars now that are in replacement of those that are even.
Yeah.
Are you?
That's how it goes. Until you're in a Koenigsegg.
Which is exciting.
Exactly. Which is honestly, it's kind of like, it's getting to a point where I'm thinking about it and I'm like, will this ever feel like, will I ever get, like, if I am lucky and I'm blessed enough to make it to this point, will this ever get how I feel? Like, for example, like my 458, when I got that car, I was obsessed. Everything about it. Now, I'm just kind of like, I like it, but like, what's...
Until you drive it.
Until you drive... Okay, that's fair. Until you get it on the crest and you hear the noise.
Until we're up in the canyons and ripping it, then it's like, this is a nice car.
For you. You like the car. Gavin likes
you like that car.
Thing. I also...
Every time
I like the car. I like the car.
You're like, do I really want to sell?
Yes, I like the car. But there's still that part of me that's like, okay, what's out there? What's better? Because I feel like one of the things too, and again, you correct me if I'm wrong, a lot of these people that buy cars, they get so attached to the vehicle that they don't care about like even like depreciation or anything like that. But like part of the game for me is like being able to buy it correctly, move off of it at a correct time and get yourself and roll yourself into the next thing. So because of that, you have to have a certain like emotional disconnect. That's hard being a car guy. You get the car, you're like, dude, I worked my butt off to get this, and like I finally have the car. And you get to a point where you're like, if I keep doing this, I keep this car, it might lose a little bit of value, might maintenance, everything in between.
Yeah.
I'm more of like a buy it, enjoy it, move off of it. Let's get to the next one.
And I'm not correcting you.
Correct me.
You're not wrong. You're right for people with your mindset.
Correct. What's the other mindset then? Buy it, keep it, and then who cares? Get another one?
There are, this is part of the reason I love, well, you know, what I do is who I get to meet and obviously learn about who's driving this new car of theirs and what car they came from or what the purpose of it is. I mean, some people pick this up for their kid.
That's amazing.
That's amazing.
That's amazing.
Do you think the kid, like, he's not going to have the same, like what you just said does not apply to that
Everything
person?
is relative.
Everything is relative.
Yes, that part I 100% understand.
I don't, it's a really cool thing, But I've learned very much, especially being here and with these cars, that you can't just say like, this kind of person is going to drive this kind of car and they have to be at this level of success to drive this, you know.
Can I ask you a mindset question
Yeah.
from like your sales perspective?
Yeah.
What have you, like I'd say in terms of like mindset growth, understanding like the psychology of different buyers now that, because in all reality, like we're in a crazy showroom, but like
Right.
the price variation here is unlike anybody else. Like you said, like at at Laguna Niguel Mercedes,
Yes.
you have your scale of cars, but there's a point where in Mercedes where it doesn't go much higher than this and it doesn't go much lower than this.
Right.
Here you have a vast variety. Like we're literally Vantage, SVJ, like the
Right.
price points on these cars.
Right.
So understanding like the psychology of a buyer, how much have you grown since your Laguna Niguel position to here, to understanding the different psychology?
Knowledge is power, and I don't necessarily mean knowledge about the cars, knowledge about your buyer.
Understanding who you're selling to.
Yes. One of my most exciting sales was a walk-in, just coming to look, because he comes by frequently just to check out what we have, and bought a $500,000 Ferrari.
From just
Just-
coming to casually like see what's
check it
we
out.
got.
Saw Matt White.
But you ask
F8.
the questions and you learn who your buyer is, and then you know like how to continue
Because again,
their peruse around the
Lauren,
showroom.
thank you for that amazing answer, by the way.
Okay.
It plays into like the psychology, like at least the way I think about it. Like
Yeah.
he was walking in, he's walking in to just look around, but why is he here to look around?
Right.
Right.
Because he wants a car.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, that's why he's here. Like he wouldn't be here. I mean, depending, obviously, there's people I imagine that walk in and have no intention of buying it, maybe can't afford it, everything. So then those people. But you get a gentleman like that that's coming in, and all he needs is the little to be like, hey, come on, let's make a deal. Let's work the numbers. And the next thing you know, you make a sale off that. You have that ability to be able to be like, I know you're in here because you want what we have.
The best part about that experience that I had with that gentleman was that I didn't try to sell him a car. I was starting a relationship because I knew it wasn't his first Ferrari. It's not going to be his last. He has a lot of exotic cars. He's here. He hasn't purchased from us before, so he's not committed to who he's maybe dealing with now. So I've sold him more cars since then,
Fantastic.
which is I cared less about the sale and more about the clients or the individual.
You heard it here first. Lauren cares about you guys. So if you want to start a relationship and buy some crazy cars, you know where to go.
There's
I'm just here to help.
there's a lot of people with money that are very impulsive.
Yeah.
Extremely.
So there's like the idea of like, why was he here? He wanted to buy a car. Like he might have just, he's like, hey, I kind of want to buy a car. Like I'm wanting to buy a car soon.
Yeah.
Then he comes and looks around. He's like, you know what? Actually, this one's kind of perfect, and just pulls the trigger. Because like I've seen that with some guys with money. Even it's like, I've been to dealerships with people that were like, they really just wanted to look. They're like, oh, like let's go see what kind of cars are out there. And then you get to the dealership and then they start getting all excited. And then I've seen like either they just send it, and I've also seen like the salesperson like didn't give them the time of day. And I'm like, do you don't understand like who's standing? Like literally, if you just indulge them a little bit, they will absolutely send it. But you don't know who you're dealing with. Like, and then they kind of write them off. Like I was with someone, a friend one time that was like, they were like, oh, this seems like it'd be fun. They wanted to test drive it. It was a Lambo. And he was like, no, like we don't really do that. And I was like, do you understand if you got him behind the wheel of this Lamborghini,
over.
he would buy the car.
Yeah.
Like he just doesn't know what that car feels like. As soon as he feels it, he will write you the check. But you don't want to like, you don't know who he is. You don't understand that he could write that check, and then you don't give him the time of day. And then we ended up walking out because the guy I was with was like, that's not his style. His style is to be taken seriously.
Yeah.
And to be shown customer service too, to a certain degree.
Because he was like, I'm not gonna walk in here and buy a $400,000 car without driving it.
Yeah.
And the guy was like, yeah, well, like if we're further on in the process, he's like, well, I also don't know that I'm gonna buy the car without driving it.
Right.
So like, how do we make this work? And the guy was just like, yeah, we just can't really do that. And it was like, okay.
How do you tell, like when you get somebody, like you said, walk in through the door?
Yeah.
What are if there's any techniques or like things you use to gauge either A, the seriousness, or B, like just the type of person, like the ability to read an individual walking into something like this?
And you said it good. It's the ability to read them. I'm not judging
Right.
any one thing, because part of that is noticing maybe what vehicle they drove up in. Not judging it, just noticing.
Just notating it, being very analytical with the thing.
It might be an old S-Class as their daily driver. They could have a garage full of exotics at home.
Very true.
So I don't judge that hard on what you came here in, but I just notice it. Obviously, you just ask questions like, what do you do for work? Not in an interrogating way, and just conversationally, right? I just want to get to know them. Like, where are they going to take this car when they purchase it? Like, all these questions you want to know beforehand. If they are coming into like a Lamborghini and maybe they're not there yet, what will tell me they're not there, and maybe we'll postpone a drive in the vehicle because miles count on some of these cars. So we can't just give everybody a test drive per se. You have to kind of like pre-qualify, make sure they're capable of buying the vehicle. I don't mean that in a judgy way.
You pass the vibe check.
Yeah.
100%.
I had an NBA player come down here, and he needed to test drive before he bought it. A 6'6" gentleman purchased a Huracan. He did not fit, but he loves the car.
Still got it. Worst comes to worst, he'll get the seat 2 inches custom.
Yeah, we'll cut it down the middle.
He
We'll
was
stretch
very
it.
qualified.
Yeah.
Yes.
Makes sense.
So for him, he gets a test drive type thing.
And like, you don't have to be an NBA player. Like, you don't have to be a professional athlete. But we went through the motions of.
What are said motions?
That was unique, but in other terms,
Right. In the general spec of things.
Yeah.
What are the said motions?
You just need to sell me on the fact that you're capable of buying the car
Gotcha. Understood.
in a polite way.
Understood. Yeah. So partly it is too, is like there's a double-sided psychology too in this whole realm of, I mean, not even exotic, but just like car sales in general.
Right.
Because the buyer's walking in trying to understand, again, depending on the prior relationship.
Yeah.
I feel like when you get to this level, like you said, it's not about the actual asset or item that you're selling.
Right.
It's the relationship with said person.
Right.
So like normally you walk into somebody and you're so fixated on the actual entity that you're buying,
Right.
you forget the fact that there needs to be like a two-party relation
Right.
on that side. And like as much as you're reading them, they're gauging you to see like, okay, maybe this vehicle can be worked on price, can be worked on this.
Right. Everything is up to discuss. I know some people get like defensive by questions that are asked, which is why I like to make sure people know I'm being kind and sincere, and I would like to genuinely know more, maybe establish a relationship with them if they really are buying the car. But if you're really defensive and standoffish, let's at least work a deal maybe then, and then we can go for a test drive. Like, let's make sure we have everything worked out, make sure it's something you'd actually want to buy based on the deal.
Right.
And then we can test drive it before any papers or agreement is come to.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I like that answer.
Yeah. And I know you have there's people that are always like, some of these guys, they pull up in a t-shirt and Birkenstocks and they're billionaires or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's, some of those people might be a little harder to like figure out.
Right.
But like in the case I was describing earlier, pulled up in a $150,000 car, wearing a $100,000 watch, like the signs of he can write the check.
That was a salesperson that just wanted
there.
a sale, and that's why he didn't get it.
Yeah.
It's not about the sale.
I mean,
About the relationship.
depends on the
That's what we learned.
salesperson, but
That's
I
very true as
prefer
well.
the relationship.
Especially because that pays off in the future.
Do I lose this
multiple
sale
times
in
as
the
well.
moment because I prioritize a relationship? Maybe, but they'll always come back to me because they had the good experience.
Yeah.
So I've learned.
Well, I think that's a great insight right there.
Very
So
much
for
so.
some of these guys, I'm interested, and it may change with the levels, and you can tell us that. But with like these high-end cars, how much do people negotiate, haggle? Like, does that happen much,
That's a
or
good
do
one.
people more
That's a
just
good
like,
one.
that's the price, cool, here it is?
It's totally 50-50.
Yeah.
These are not brand new, like they're not sitting at a Lamborghini dealership or like a Mercedes. You're not going to negotiate really too much down on a G-Wagon. You know you're going to pay a markup. You can maybe discuss or try to see what the dealer is willing to let it go for. Maybe not the full addendum, but depends on the market. These buyers, though, I don't argue. I don't negotiate. Everything you see here is listed for fair market value. If they would like to pull up cars.com and go through what else is up there with me, I'm very confident in the prices they're listed at. So if there is a big discretion, maybe we're looking at the wrong car. I mean that politely.
Yeah.
I have to be protective too of, you know, what the dealership I work for. It's their inventory. I need to protect them and their asset.
So you can't go too crazy with the negotiation and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, if someone's calling on a car that's listed at $799, $999, and they want to offer $650, we're just a little far off.
Just a tad.
Just a little.
Not too crazy. Nothing retrospective.
I mean,
Yeah.
people make offers like that.
Just
I
an
can
Audi
only
R8 away from the purchase.
Are you kidding me? You get a real estate guy in here that's used to offering $500 on $700,000 houses. You'll easily do the same thing when it comes to cars.
Yeah.
Just to see, because again, closed mouths don't get fed. So it's a no until it's a no.
They're like, I'd really rather have the red interior, but I'd be willing. And you're like, doesn't matter. This is what it is.
It totally depends on the buyer. If they're really just price driven and we can't come to an agreement on our car, will they end up in one for that number? Probably. Will it be ours? Probably not. Are they going to love the one they did buy for less? Probably not.
Very
So I have to be good at my job too and adding value to why ours is priced the way it is.
100%.
Is there any little tip or trick that you do, or I guess like how do you stay up to date with knowing the market? Because I feel like the market, especially over the last like you take the market in the last 5 years as a span, it has been an incredible wild
Take it
ride.
down to 2 years.
2 years, yeah, fair. 2 years, like literally. And again, too, now you have interest rates that are constantly going, or right now they're stagnant, but like they could be seeing potentially some cuts and some pullback in a little bit. So like, how do you consistently stay on top of the market?
I never forecast because it's unpredictable. So I would be a fool to say in this amount of time, it's going to be at, worth this much or depreciated.
Disclaimers.
Right?
Yeah, 100%.
To a certain extent, you can kind of maybe get a general idea based on the past, but I don't like to go in those waters.
No, yeah, you can never forecast
This
anything.
business in general would scare me so bad.
Scare you in what sense?
Like to have an operation this large with
You mean like
this
owning
much
the
inventory.
business?
Yes,
I feel you.
because you think about the market, and it was like if you loaded up on inventory 18 months ago that you're still sitting on a lot of, like you're underwater on all of those cars probably.
Yes, yeah, it depends. I feel like, again,
I know
too,
they're usually not sitting on cars for 18 months, so
Yeah,
that's kind of
very
the
true.
deal. Is
And then
you're
again-
in and out of these cars, but like, yeah,
it
there's,
depends
like,
on the way you run said business as well, too.
Just think something could happen and like the whole market tanks, and you're sitting
That
on.
had happened.
Yeah. When?
Certain places survive. I mean, after COVID, everyone was really hot.
Yeah.
I can imagine everyone's buying everything, and all of a sudden the market dies a little bit, and then you see
Right,
who's
that's what I'm
over
saying.
leveraged,
People were
who's
o-
under
yeah, people were
leveraged, who's
loading
buying
up during
cars
that
correctly.
time.
So we've
Things were
already
really
we've
expensive.
already seen that, and I think what we learned from it in a whole was the people who survived were the people who could afford to stick it out.
Yeah.
If places have a lot of cars on flooring lines, or
Exactly.
they're
Those monthlies add up
yeah
very quickly.
yeah.
Again, like I said, it depends. Again, this is me talking absolutely out of my what. So like, it all depends on like the scale and like how they're doing it. So like, this could be, like you said, it's be a scary business, but at the same time, if you understand the market, you understand exactly how to not over leverage or get too crazy on like your debt ratio, you can definitely move some weight. You can
Yeah.
definitely
For
make it
sure. For
happen.
sure.
I think there's
100%.
a song about that, like scared money doesn't make money.
Scare money don't make money, baby. Scare money don't make money.
You're not wrong.
It takes money to make money.
I'd rather rent the cars, I feel like.
Well,
Then there's cash monthly.
Are you talking like renting them?
Yeah,
out?
yeah.
Oh no, yeah. More so, when you said that, I was like imagining like if I get to that like wealth point, I'd be like, I don't even know why I wouldn't own anything. I would just rent it.
Yeah.
Rent it. I'm not liable. I don't care if the car breaks down, whatever. I drive it. I'm flying back in between, doing everything in between. Like I don't even want the stress. If it was to get to that point.
Yeah.
But yes.
That makes sense. Come in, grab something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of
We'll
owning
be
everything-
renting SVJs to people one of these days.
Oh, 100%. Just coming. It's coming soon.
$10,000 a day.
SCC business
LA
is coming
to
soon.
the SVJ.
Yes, sir.
You could probably make a nice
I
profit
like
on that.
that. You made it rhyme.
Yeah.
SCC, SBJ.
SCC, titty SVJ,
Yes, yes, you did.
pull up. Yeah, that'd be kind of nice. LA, I feel like people do like 10 grand a month, and the payment on it's like 15. So like 2 days you're covered.
Yeah, very much so. And these things, I mean, some of these cars rent for insane amounts too.
Right. You think like NBA player comes in for the weekend.
Yep.
Does he want just like a Huracan Evo?
Yeah, because he's 6'6". He doesn't fit in one, so
Or an
why would he
SVJ?
have it?
He makes
if he wants it for the
$70 million a year,
weekend.
so, like-
We can get him the Roadster and just take
Exactly.
the top off for the weekend. No problem at all, my friend.
Again, what's 50 grand for the week when you make 70 million in a year?
There's a lot
Well,
of
SVJ.
very much so.
You see the market? It's low key there, right? Maybe.
Lauren's
I
loving
see
this.
a future in it.
Lauren loves this. Lauren loves this.
I think not marketing to the people who like could care less, kind of, but making it tangible for people who could only dream of affording that car.
The barrier
That's where your market
to
is.
entry.
Yeah.
I feel like in terms of
do
like
those
cars,
people are those people going to shell out $8,000 for a day with an SVJ?
Do you need
surprised.
$8,000 a day, or do you need a long-term customer and an
a
affordable
relationship,
price?
Understanding like getting the acquisition cost to getting that customer in the door and then retaining them.
And I know nothing about that business, so
Oh, granted, are you kidding me? Neither do we. But we're just assuming. We're very big on the dreaming
yeah,
side of
with
life. We
with
like
the
to
rental
scheme.
side of thing, you're heavily factoring in depreciation.
Yeah.
Because if you're throwing
mileage.
40,000 miles on an
Yeah.
SVJ over the course of 2 years, then you're going to need to account for a few $100,000 of depreciation
Yeah.
on top of the payments you're making, obviously. So you would probably need 8-ish a day.
Yeah, well, yeah. I'm not
Somewhere
gonna-
between 6 and 10 a day on an SVJ to be profitable, I would imagine.
I'm not trying to throw any shots too, but like a lot of it just depends on like people don't realize like the scale of like certain businesses that have like how they're leveraging their financing and stuff like that. Like a lot of people have 15-year loans on some of these cars, but if you look at it and you don't even understand the fact that that even exists, and you're
Yeah.
trying to run the numbers, you think, okay, if I get 72 months at a certain rate, this is my price point. If I rent it for this, we're good. But they don't realize that you could put no money down, get a 15-year on it, and your
Yeah.
payment's 2 G's, and you're like, I can literally turn this over in a weekend.
I told Benji what my payment would be for my next car. He goes, how do you get a payment like
Exactly.
that? I go, 12-year loan.
Exactly.
You
exactly.
don't understand the game yet.
Yes. Again, what Lauren said to start, knowledge is power. So like understanding the way that you can do things and the scale that there is. I like to always say, and I say this all the time, is like there's always more than one way to skin a cat. It's never the way it seems. It's never how it is right up in your face. So understanding and diving deeper into things always pays out in the long term.
Another insight I want though from this echelon would be like as far as finance, lease, buy. I know there's a lot of people that probably don't realize that you can lease these cars, and there's companies, and lease is really what it is. It's a balloon note, just like disguised as a lease for tax purposes, but lease, right?
Yeah.
For tax purposes, it's talk to your CPA or your accounting. Talk to your accountant, your tax professional, not me. But
Disclaimer.
what would you say is kind of like the general spread on lease, cash, buy for this high-end market?
finance versus cash, definitely 50-50. It depends on what works best for the buyer.
Yeah. But it's about 50-50.
Yes, it just depends what they do for business. If they use their cash to make more money, it doesn't make sense for them to shell out $400,000 on a
Right.
car. They'd rather maybe put
Park it in an asset.
put
How to put it
50% down,
For sure.
do a short-term finance. It helps their credit, and they have that extra money to make more money.
No, long term.
It just depends on the interest rate too, I imagine, no?
There's a lot of variables. So when people do want to talk about like a long-term financing, I would say the conversation gets, not in a weird way, but the conversation gets intimate because I need to know certain things about their, current financial situation, their previous one. A lot of people who want to finance long-term are like, don't run my credit yet. And then they want to like work the numbers.
Right.
I'm not saying just let anyone run your credit, but to get a really accurate idea of what let's just say an 84-month financing on a Ferrari is going to be. It depends on what model year it is. Depending on how old it is, you can only do a certain maybe finance term.
Yeah.
The banks aren't going to let you put zero down. So just know that going into it.
All depends.
It all depends. I don't.
We
yeah.
might know someone.
I don't like
that would let you do
to
it.
put blanket statements out because everyone's different.
Yeah.
Very
You're not getting Chase or Bank of America to write you a $400,000 note with nothing down. But
Depends who you are.
You get a relationship with the right bank, the right people at that bank.
Yes.
We've seen 15 years 0 down for people.
Very much so. But again,
I'm scared for the person who's agreeing to that.
it all depends on the purpose of it and stuff like that. I'm not
Hey, we're
positive.
not here.
That's not my area of expertise,
Yeah, we're
so
not
I'm not
here
going to
to
comment
we're not
on
here to
it.
give financial advice.
Exactly.
We're just
I'm not
we're
a
just
financial
telling
advisor.
you
I don't
what's
even know
out
what I'm
there.
doing, so.
Just telling you what's out there.
Yes.
What we've heard people have done.
Yes.
Simply that. Is
Yeah.
it smart? Maybe. Is my next car going to be a financially responsible decision? No. Not at all. Am I going to do it anyway? 100%.
But then you get into a whole other side of the game that like I feel like isn't talked about enough. And like we've touched on this like in a couple other episodes, but like for example,
And she's going to know that. I think whatever you're about to say, she's going to understand what you're talking about.
so like even retrospectively, if you look at buying a car or something like that, or even just anything that you desire, okay, and it might be a little bit out of your price point for at least either monthly or if you're going to front all the cash, but understanding that depending on what it is will motivate you and push you out of your comfort zone and your boundaries that you currently have for yourself, that pays dividends that people don't even speak on.
And then with these, the network is
Oh my
huge too.
goodness. Are you kidding me? That's I think the number one thing that nobody talks about, or at least people talk about it, but like I think it's the number one concept that needs to be drilled into people that they don't understand. It's like when you get something of that echelon, like even just a supercar, it unlocks an immense amount of doors.
Yes.
Immense amount of doors.
You're
Even just
talking
a
to
comfortable
extremely successful people. You can be taught, especially in LA. You have a supercar, you can get into rooms with extremely successful people on a weekly basis. And like you're talking about like we're not necessarily. You had a clip where you're talking about sales, not so much from like a sales perspective, but is more so from just a networking perspective. The people you're talking to, and then it's like they probably have successful businesses.
Yeah.
They see you have a nice car. They're like, oh, you probably have successful businesses. Maybe we can like figure something out. Maybe you should meet my friend. Maybe you should do that. And they just like the whole thing just starts
Yeah.
going like that.
Yeah.
And that can be that investment, that financially irresponsible decision could actually end up being extremely beneficial if you're able to use it. Because obviously you can buy a supercar,
Right.
drive it around,
Right.
never meet anyone, just do
Right.
your thing.
Oh yeah,
But
be extremely low key.
if you use it to climb the ladder,
talk to me type of vibes.
you can climb the ladder in a non-skeevy way, obviously.
Can I ask you a question? Just kind of popped into my head,
Yes.
but it might not be like there might not be any crazy answer to this
Okay.
whatsoever. But like, I think one of the biggest concepts I think some people do, like for example, your guys' inventory is heavy, like on G wagons
Yeah.
or Cullinans and stuff like that. Have you ever had somebody that's been crazy, like with pushing like the tax write-off side of that, where someone comes in like late December and they're like, I need this now, and I don't care exactly what it is, just so they can write
December,
it off.
we are fully
and then-
loaded with SUVs for that purpose.
For that purpose.
Yeah.
That's what I figured. Have you ever had somebody literally buy it and then try to offload it back onto you guys the following January? No? Never had somebody buy in December and be like, all right, wrote it off, get another one, then write that one off in January?
I've not experienced that, no.
No. I'm very curious. That's because I know you guys, again, people who don't understand, like, they sell G-Wagons like they're Camrys, and I'm not even kidding.
Bro, this showroom is crazy. Huh?
It's ridiculous. I bought my G-Wagon here for most of you guys who don't know. So literally, like, this place is...
Yeah.
I spent all this time setting up. I was like, I wasn't really taking it in, and I'm just
We'll go for a little walk.
Yeah, we'll
I'm
go for a
looking
little
at this
walk. You guys will
line
get
of
some more
We've got
content than this.
a few GT3 RSs that are really hot right now, obviously.
Yeah. I heard
Why
one.
is that a hot car is what I still don't
I heard
understand.
one that there was one. Someone was parking one over here, and I was like, "Are the lawn guys here?" No, it's a GT3 RS.
Did you see it or you just heard it?
I saw it. Well, I mean, I probably could have told you based
Yeah.
on the noise, I think, but I saw it. Can't miss that wing.
Yeah.
No, not at all.
You like those?
Listen, at first, I had no idea why somebody was spending $500,000 on them, but
I'm going to judge you on this, so just be ready for this one.
I'm ready for the judgment.
Okay, go ahead. That's what I'm just
You're
letting you
welcome
know.
to judge.
I'm just letting you know.
Am I going to go buy one right now because I love them? No. I have an appreciation for them, and any vehicle like that can cause a lot of commotion in the market. However you feel about it.
There's a reason.
Yeah.
Lauren doesn't care for my opinions, but it's fine.
It's the only car on the road that better have a wing that big. If anyone's trying to copy
true.
it, I don't like that.
I respect that. That's a fair answer.
That
What-
wing, I love that wing.
What does Lauren like?
Should we roll into the guest questions?
Let's do it.
You ready for that?
I'm ready for it.
Are you ready for the guest questions? Before we get
I'm ready
into
to
the
judge
guest
Lauren's answers.
because the guest questions do mean the end of the episode, which is sad because this has been a great conversation. Is there anything else you want to throw in the mix? Any other insights? I know that's like super broad.
Yeah.
Maybe like
Maybe just to loop back to what you said about your friend who who could have afforded a Huracan and just wasn't treated properly. I hear that so often. And truthfully, that's why I'm still doing this. It's like, it's a really cool job. It is not always a really fun job. It's never easy.
yeah.
But I hate hearing those stories. And what a shame, because I bet you'll never go back to that place. Your friend who could have afforded that car, that bad experience is going to override them doing business with that place ever again. I know if my dad walked into a place like this, like not just my dad, like let's just say
an older gentleman. I know exactly what you mean by
he's
that.
very conservative.
Yes. My old man is, if my old man walked into any place, nobody would take him seriously.
It infuriates me that a family member or a friend who I know has worked hard and could afford this car would be treated some type of way that doesn't make me feel good. That's not how it should be.
Right.
Anyway, that's why I'm still doing this, is because you can be a good person and sell cool cars.
Yeah. So again,
I'm not saying there aren't other
come see Lauren.
good people.
Yes.
But
if you roll down Eurocar.
To sum it up, if you want a personal, great experience that you are curated to and taken care of, there's no better person in the world than Lauren here to see. Okay. For all your car needs. Okay. Anything in between.
What's the easiest? What brand moves the fastest? In the like Ferrari, McLaren, Lambo
they come
world.
in seasons.
Can I
Glad
make
you
a
asked that
guess?
question. Yeah.
Can I make a guess? Okay, well, the season thing kind of threw me. I was getting ready to say that right before you said the seasonal
were you gonna
thing.
say?
I was going to say just general respectively, but I feel like when you say seasonal, you mean like literally quarters of the year, or you mean like
No, I mean the cars.
year time periods? Some become trendier than
Cars
others.
that are hot, yes, will be trendy and move really fast in waves, seasons.
I'm just taking a wild stab, just solely based on I would think of the person that has the money to spend on certain stuff like that. I imagine, and I know this is going to sound really basic because I'm literally wearing the hat, but like Ferrari has to move solely because of like the collecting aspect of it. Am I wrong?
I was
The
gonna say
smile tells me
Huracans.
that I'm
I
wrong.
feel like Huracan's just
I feel like they go off
in and
thing,
out.
but it again,
because there's so many of them. Maybe
This goes back to like forecasting and why I don't think it's maybe wise to attempt to forecast or load your inventory because you think X, Y, and Z is going to happen. What's hot now, load your inventory with what's hot now.
moving units.
Rolls Royces, we obviously have a very large portion of our showroom is Rolls Royces. Those are some of them are the most underrated vehicles, in my opinion. Listen, people write them off. They're like, this is such an old man's car. I'm not old enough for them. A Ghost, that's like one of the sexiest cars. Are you kidding me?
I don't disagree with that.
As a driver experience too.
Well, because I feel like it
these Cullens.
these Cullinan. No, I'm a huge fan of the
I would
Cullinan.
rip a Cullinan.
Huge fan, but I feel like
Right. So
To-
why aren't we talking more about those?
to attest to your point, I feel like people don't understand. Like I feel like because and the fact that we're like the supercar connection, we hang so much on like the supercar, sports car vibe. But when you get up to a point and
Yeah.
you get up to a level of wealth
Yeah.
across the board, Rolls Royces are easier to move because it caters to more than somebody that like for just a gentleman or a female that wants to drive like a sports car.
Right.
They just want a car of luxury that
They want the
gives them
most comfortable,
imagery,
the nicest, car.
comfortable, luxury, everything in between, and status symbol. So Rolls Royce is catered to that overall market better than any Lamborghini, Ferrari, McLaren will ever.
People that can afford 200K in depreciation.
These are
Yeah.
your dailies.
Yes, these are the dailies. Hopefully you'll see
ultimate
me
daily.
one pretty soon here. That'd be very nice.
Like these are nice, but if that's the only car in your garage, that not at some point it's not. That's I don't want to. It's not a grocery getter, okay?
Hey, you can make this
Hey,
a grocery
yeah,
getter.
there's a lot of space in
I
that
will
front
make
seat.
this thing a grocery getter.
I go to
promise you.
Ralph's in the 4-seat
To like
all the
have
time.
to take the driveways, like to have
True.
to stress like constantly. That's not fun. Okay,
All right, guess questions.
Guess questions. I think Lauren's already ready for them. Let's do it.
I am.
Guess questions. So we'll start with what do you think is the most underrated car?
I call any Rolls Royce.
Any Rolls Royce?
Yes.
Any one in particular?
They're underrated for people in our age group.
Yeah.
And I think if you can afford one, let go a little bit of this is such an old man's car. just come see me. Let's hang out. I'll show you why it's not just an old man's car. They're really sexy. Anyway, those are underrated.
Get a Mansory. This is a Mansory.
Yes, forged carbon fiber.
This is the one Mansory that I would drive, I think.
They got a white Forgiato wheel set over here that I'm looking at, and I'm like, that's my style. Black the top out of
The white wheels are in right now.
White wheels
I like it.
They are. Okay, second question.
Yeah.
What's the most overrated car?
There it is.
I think we texted briefly about this yesterday.
You're going to go with that.
Yeah, I decided I am.
Hit it. Let's hear it.
This very current moment, I don't know when the video will come out, but
It'll still be
relative.
oh, it's so frustrating. The most overrated car right now is the Tesla Cybertruck.
Tesla Cyber. Why?
Please elaborate, Lauren. Please. If you can.
Yeah. Most of the people buying them right now don't know. I literally watched a video on this morning where someone had a platform big enough. They had commercials. That means they have a certain amount of subscribers, right?
Right.
And they didn't know why their car had certain features or why they paid X amount. And that is so defeating because you have this platform to maybe teach somebody, but you're kind of proving that anyway. People are paying very, very, very big money for these cars, and they probably couldn't tell you what the value of that dollar amount is, which is none of my business. And to each their own, and if they're happy with it, great. But the people fighting to get these cars, and they're like, well, I'm like, is it a dual motor? Are the tri-motors here yet? Which is the Cyber Beast. Those are going to be cool. The Foundation Series is a $20,000 package on these cars. Do you know what comes in the Foundation Series?
Nothing.
Do you know how many are released?
No.
Neither do most of the buyers, which is maybe just a token of...
Foundation Series is simply just what, first year production?
So there's 1,000, the first to come to be released. People have taken delivery.
Because Foundation Series is all Cyber Beast.
The first 1,000 of the dual motor all-wheel drive Cybertruck. And then the tri-motor Cyber Beast also has 1,000 that will be released. The first 1,000 of both of those models are the Foundation Series. So an added package that makes it a Foundation Series. And if you go through the list of what comes in this Foundation Series, if you go spec a Cybertruck, you're probably going to add all of those things anyway. If your truck showed up without the things in the Foundation Series, you'd be highly disappointed.
It's almost like, and I'm just spitballing here. I have no idea what I'm talking about. It's almost like if Tesla wanted to put the car and legally dock it at a certain price point.
Yeah.
But then when you actually get to spec it, you realize that this package that they have has all the things you already spec. But if they give you that off the rip, they would have to price the vehicle differently. Mm-hmm. So for him to step on the stage and be able to, this price point, they have to do it that way. It's from my understanding.
And this is me coming from people are paying
top dollar.
Almost double.
Wow. That's actually really surprising for me.
Maybe more than at this current moment. One just sold for $250,000.
Wow.
Were they allowed to? Are they going to get in trouble? I have no comment. But Elon was smart at pricing them the way they were. At the price of the MSRP, are they worth it? Probably.
Markup?
But for people paying over
$250K.
Now, by no means am I trying to actually hold this position that I'm going to say.
But they can
I
afford
defend it? Can I defend that for a second?
Oh, and I don't mean to say anything and I don't. If
way.
anyone has one, I'm so sorry. I hope you do love it.
I'm not taking it that way. I don't think the viewers will take it that way. But to defend and just make a point.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people have heard this on the internet, but I think we're very much, especially nowadays, where everybody is huge on attention economy.
That's where I said last night, he did a great thing. He's like sitting and watching and...
So like him,
incredible.
And again, to be honest with you, Tesla, all his companies have an exquisite way to market.
Yeah.
So because of that, like you have this aspect of like this limited release and they talk about, oh, it's going to release then, it gets delayed. Then they start coming on the scene. You have a mass amount of people that have been waiting 2019 for this car to hit the market. They finally hit it. The first people to have it, it shows kind of like, who are you to have this car?
Yeah.
So that attention or that drawn factor, like, oh, I have a Cybertruck and there's only like 100 on the road. Whatever I'm selling, talking about, preaching has to be correct, no?
I tipped my hat to the individuals who paid a lot of money to get one.
They're over 6,000 pounds, no?
Yeah.
So if they pay $250 for it, and that works for their price range.
Listen, to each their own.
G63 or this new Cybertruck? We'll let you decide on that one.
Okay, so the last question: 3-car garage.
Yeah.
No budget.
Are you
What are
cool
you
with 3
picking?
car?
No, I'm gonna need a 5-car
Yeah,
garage.
she was yelling at me prior, saying that she wanted a 5-car garage.
It's not the rules.
I'm sorry.
Everyone plays by the rules.
Then I'll keep 3 in the garage and 2 out front.
There it is, Lauren. That's what I'm talking about. Lauren knows how to play the system, baby. I like it.
Just making her own rules.
If it's up to me, I'm giving you the 5. Gavin might hold
Take
you
the
on
5.
3.
Take
There
the
it is.
5.
Yes, baby.
I
Let's
feel like
go.
the 3 is part of the game, but if you need 5,
I'll tell you what. Give us your first 3. Can we get them in like
Yeah.
order? That way, the last
I'll
2
play
will
by
be
the,
like.
I like rules.
do you?
Play by the rules.
I don't like
Okay.
rules.
Do
I do
you?
not. I do not play by the rules. But
Because
go ahead.
3, yeah, 5 you have lots of options.
Mm-hmm.
You can just have a
Fine,
just
we'll
a
do
whatever
3.
car.
I'm the wild
When
one.
it's
I was
3,
down
you
for the
really
5
got to
or
be
whatever.
strategic with it.
Okay.
That's why I feel that way.
Okay.
But if you want to give your 3-car garage and then the 2 that you wish you could add to it,
Okay.
we can do that.
Dang it.
This is where I'm going to judge you.
Did I ruin
this-
it all?
This is the
No.
big one. Yeah, that's yes. There you go.
I just
5-car
feel like
garage.
people are gonna.
Lauren's 5-car garage.
We can do
Let's hear it.
3, but people are gonna be disappointed with my options because of where I work. Probably.
Okay.
If it had to be 3, I would love to spoil myself and get a nice little Urus as a daily.
Okay.
I will not get the Performante. I'll get the Urus S, so it's not like top level aggression. At least a little calm down for a super SUV.
Right.
I think I would like a Rolls Royce Ghost.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't love the Wraith. I don't need the extra room in the back, but I would like it.
I respect it.
I'm gonna get a Ferrari 812 GTS. I know you want to judge me. It's okay.
A12
It's fine.
GTS.
It's fine.
Okay, that's 3.
I love
That is
the
3.
specifics though. The fact that is there a reason why it's GTS or 812?
The drop top.
That's the reason.
As long as I would need the carbon fiber hood, or I'll have to special spec it to make it absolutely
is.
beautiful.
There it
I
is.
don't love convertibles, but I love the.
I think that's a fine garage.
I think that's a really good garage.
Yeah.
Can I ask you? And this is again, I think you might be the first guys we've done this to. But is there colors that would correlate to these cars? Like when you imagine said 812 GTS, is there a color combo interior spec that you like?
Yes.
There it is. Let's hear
It's
it.
gonna be a little boring, but it's really sexy, and it's probably gonna be mostly all black.
Okay. It is
Maybe
kinda
the
boring. It's fine,
calipers
though.
can be red for like a little pop.
You need some type of spice. You need some.
I know. Well, the sound of it alone is the sexiest thing ever. And it kind of speaks for itself.
The second sexiest.
So I
thing
don't
ever,
really
so
want the spec to be louder than the car, if that makes sense.
I agree with that. I can feel.
Red interior.
Did you hear her, bro? Plain Jane. She wants Alcantara black.
Oh, okay.
nothing.
I didn't say
Nothing.
that.
Nothing.
I only heard black exterior with maybe
no,
red
she
calipers.
She wants
Black
that thing
exterior, like stealthy black.
Yeah.
Black, yeah.
She's got limo tint. Like
But-
you don't even know who that's driving that thing. You just all you
Awesome.
hear is it just rip by you. That's it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Probably primarily black inside, but I would love some pops of like a white stitching on the seats,
Okay. That's fair.
a carbon fiber steering wheel.
All of them the same?
No,
Oh, this
the
is just the Urus.
menagerie. That was just the 812.
Oh, that was the 812.
Lambo. I imagine you're gonna go semi-loud on the Lamb. No.
Blue Cepheus is my
There it
favorite
is.
color. So I'll do a blue Cepheus Urus.
That is a great color.
It is a really
That's
nice
probably my 3rd favorite Lambo color.
It's gorgeous.
I love you guys.
And it's appropriate.
Yeah.
You should get blue on your Lamborghini or something wild.
yeah.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah. And my other car was a
The red-
Ghost?
The Ghost. Sorry.
That
there's
one.
so
matte
many.
black with
There's
black,
so many.
I actually,
yeah.
I'm in love with that fucking spec.
And there's the little rose gold on
black
the
badge.
for sure.
For sure, black badge.
Now that I have an eye for it, when I see non-black badge with them like painted or wrapped,
You could spot it.
you're already getting a Ghost. Just get the black badge.
You heard it here first.
Personal opinion.
Yes.
Can I please say if I could park an extra car outside?
Yes. Let's hear it.
I need a Ford Raptor,
Ford Raptor.
Ford
R?
Raptor.
Ford Raptor R.
the most aggressive intent.
Please,
Yeah, yeah.
please
Love it.
elaborate on that one, Lauren, because that one caught
Why?
me by surprise.
Why?
Well, I'm just curious. I feel like is there like a specific use for a Ford? Like,
Is you off-roading in it? Or
is it because
just
you want
drive
like
around?
you want like a big truck, or like is there
She is
you
from
just
Tucson.
That's true. That is the part you got to think.
you.
Yes, way tied into Tucson.
Tucson. You might have crossed paths with my uncle.
like a nice orange Ford Raptor.
No.
No?
Whoop.
So, there you go. I'm getting yelled at
Black.
again. There we go.
Yeah, I'll keep it black, but
Black one?
maybe I don't know.
I respect that. It's not a bad 3 to 4 car garage. I'll give it to you.
Okay, so
Yeah.
the 5th one.
fifth one. What I was gonna say.
She forgot already. Stay tuned.
Maybe you
for the
don't want to
fifth
like go loud everywhere. So maybe like
A Corolla.
I was gonna say an S class, but
Oh, okay.
one. Yeah, a nice S.
Jill loves the S Class.
580.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great car.
I would judge people. There's very few decisions that I would judge people
Yeah.
for. He would judge people for lots of decisions.
Yeah.
What is
Me?
that supposed to mean?
You judge people for their decisions.
That's fair.
I respect that people like different things. Now, there are certain things that there's no excuse for.
Yeah.
But don't buy a Ferrari Roma unless it's from here.
Yeah. Unless it's,
The
from,
ones at
unless it's from
Eurocar-
Lauren, don't buy it.
The ones at Eurocar are amazing. But other than that, don't waste your time.
Don't waste your time. Not at all. But yes, I think that was fantastic.
Yeah.
We appreciate you coming on.
Oh my gosh,
Thank
that
you.
was
Yes,
fun.
100%.
See,
To
it's a good
finally,
time.
It's
to
a good
really
time.
bring it in, like I always said, we're here at Eurocar. If you need any desire, you need any car, you need anything, hit Lauren up. She's your one stop for everything.
Thank you.
Where can they find you on social media?
At selling exotics _OC.
There it is.
I don't just sell exotic cars, so whatever you're in the market for, I'm sure I can help out.
There it is.
Wonderful. All right. Thank you.
That's a
Thank
wrap.
you.
We're out.